Then the second one is related. And we really want to nurture curiosity. So intellectual curiosity is one of the metrics uh, many schools that they use, if not all schools, to use to recruit you. And I tell you, schools are giving you, they have metrics to measure your application. And Emory, Stanford, their metrics intellectual curiosity. Okay. Harvard have the personal character, whatever, right? Harvard got sued because they rated Asian students lower for that specific metrics. All colleges have metrics when they recruit you. Okay, they assess your application. So the intellectual curiosity, Emory, this is public because one of the famous author wrote a book, and he really looked into how each college, some college, and I think Emory was one of the schools on his list doing the case studies. Stanford, I knew because we have students pretty much, we have counselors and getting students to Stanford each year. And my son was waitlisted by Stanford, extended waitlisted, and rejected until June. And we have a board member, and both kids are in Stanford. Okay, so we it's not far from here. With all said, Stanford has a very interesting policy. If you get admitted, and that's coming from verified sources from our counselor students, also from my very, very good friend whose kid got into Stanford, is you are allowed to look at your application with admission officers' marks, remarks, and comments after you get admitted. If you don't get admitted or rejected, you are not going to look at it. Why am I rejected? That's not possible. Okay. But if you're in and you are enrolled, you can look at it. Okay. So intellectual curiosity, and they usually have three people, and the Stanford will interview. So interview that does actually a kind of important for Stanford. And at least for a couple years now, at least for the past few years, right? For Cornell, interview was important. I do in local interview for San Diego for many years. I had to write down a very detailed report, but for the past few years, it's not as important. So I just make it clear they don't really care. The interviews for us to sell Cornell to you, not about evaluating your application. So with all said, they put intellectual curiosity. So what does that mean? What does the curiosity mean? Means that you're interested in something. Again, go seek the truth because you're interested in something. It's not because you're interested in something and you're seeking immediate return. So do you understand? I play violin because I'm really interested. It's not because I play violin because it looks good on my resume, or because my parents want me to do it, or because my friend Richard is doing that. I want to be better than Richard. Okay, so you're truly interested. So, and we have students. Sometimes our counselor talk about it, individual case, and we can go on, especially in writing, publicly share each person's they call it profile. If we share the students who get into different schools, people get concerned because gonna look at, oh, this student get into MIT only for competition, and uh, and then, oh, I must do competition to get into MIT, which is not true. And we have students going to MIT have no competition. We have students going to MIT have competition. So that's why we don't share. And sometimes, like SAT, some students get really high SAT. They get like, okay, they put it on. Then some students looking at, oh, to get into Caltech, I must getting a 1600, which is not true. Okay, so that's why we don't publish at all the students, all your information pretty much is confidential unless you, like Richard, you are willing to share your experience, right? So the curiosity is very, very important. It's more important in AI days because there's so much you can learn and so much is at the fingertip you can access. So I want you to be curious, finding out what this is about, what's the essence is about. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, it's very interesting. I'm actually joining a Miss Pond's reading club, and some of you are are Miss Pond students and or were Miss Pond students, and she's a professional English teacher, also professional counselor. So she's launching this called Reading the War and Peace, right? It's very, very complex, and not about the vocabulary. Vocabulary is okay, but it's the characters. Like you really have to use your brain to think about it. And in the beginning, I felt because I'm very busy, I cannot, force myself like reading. If I don't join the reading club, there's no way I'm gonna put set my time to read. Okay, now I'm in it, I have to read, and I found this very, very interesting. Really, really interesting because there are the setup is the historical, the politics, the war, the character, and really make me think. And I'm genuinely interested in reading the book, not because I want to pass the SAT or ACT. Not there's no immediate goal for me to read this book other than I'm genuinely interested. Okay. And the benefit is very good for my brain. And I refresh very interesting vocabulary. And I also use GPT, some vocabulary I don't know, some vocabulary you don't use, and some particular about the woman's purse or some very interesting vocabulary. And then I use GPT to give me a little bit of, kind of the background of why this word is used. So it's really because my curiosity, I'm willing to spend my time doing this. So whatever you do, I really want you to think about it. You really want to find more about this, about the history, about engineering, about science, about humans, or about any character, right? So this is your own curiosity, and that's throughout the application. When you put everything together, it will be reflected of it's really a key mark of measuring your application. Okay, so